joined by John Herbst, who's the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine during the George W. Bush administration. And thank you, sir, for coming on. We appreciate it very much. I guess they're just looking for other ways, right? If Congress doesn't approve, does this sound like something that could be feasible, finding money in other places?
It is feasible. There are some things in the pipeline that can be delivered while there's right now a spending freeze on new money. They can redirect money that's currently designed for something else, which also is a temporary gesture. This is all in response to the sad fact, the irresponsible step to remove aid for Ukraine from the continuing resolution. This was a shot against American interests, which damages our reputation as a reliable ally.
Explain it in the most, the simplest way that you can. Not that people don't understand it. I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, I think people do understand it, and support for the war is going down in a lot of the polling that we've looked at. But I guess what I mean is we've been talking to guests about it, and I often say, make the argument to people, regular people sitting at home, and say, this war's been going on much longer than we thought, and we as a country are spending more than we thought we would. Why should we, in your view?
Well, the problem is that type of framing. The administration has not set out the clear, vital American interests that are involved in this war. And of course, you have a wing of the Republican Party that seems to be completely clueless about this. Russia is pursuing an aggressive foreign policy coming to weaken the United States. That's why Putin's regime launched cyber attacks on us 2 years ago, which caused severe disruptions in our food supply, in our gas supply. That's why they're conducting this war in Ukraine. Their aim is not just to take control of Ukraine, to go beyond Ukraine and take control in countries which are now members of NATO. So we have a problem containing Russia. The administration, the president, should lay this out to the American people. And if we understand that, we know that this is going to be a long-term problem, which requires the use of real resources. And in that case, the $37 or $40 billion a year that we send to Ukraine is not philanthropy for the Ukrainian people. It's a smart investment in American security. Because with that $37 or $40 billion a year, which represents about 4% of our defense budget, Ukraine is fighting the Russians for us. This is why we are doing this. In that case, the $40 billion a year, which again is 4% of our defense budget,
right,
is a sensible, economical measure to defend American interests.
Now, if we cut it off, if that hypothetically it did happen, the extraordinary measures that we talked about at the start of the conversation weren't there anymore. The Republican members in Congress, they elect a new speaker, and they just don't get new money approved. What's the practical short-term effect of that? What would actually happen in the short term if the money wasn't flowing?
It's possible Europe could make up for some of that. Not impossible, but unlikely they can make up for most of it, in which case Ukraine's ability to defend itself goes down. American credibility goes way down. American global leadership goes way down. Our allies across the world begin to think they cannot depend on us. Putin's military circumstances in Ukraine get much better. And again, if Putin were to win in Ukraine, we would have to greatly increase our defense budget to make sure he doesn't attack our NATO allies in the Baltic states, in Poland, in Romania. This also makes it more likely that Xi would launch an attack on Taiwan. If this mistake, and let's just call it a mistake if it lasts 45 days, is repeated and becomes American policy, our security will be endangered, our prosperity will be endangered, and our global leadership will be severely weakened.
And the issue there you bring up with China and Taiwan, and it's been really what's been behind a lot of this. So people have watched American foreign policy for a long time. That's the real worry, not that this isn't serious, but that's always been the real long-term concern. John Herbst is a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.